My name is Shane McDonald. I'm an attorney at law in South Florida. I'm actually called to the bar in Jamaica and in Florida. I practice three areas of law: family law, criminal, and immigration. I call these three areas a trifactor because many times they play on each other. I'll have a case, for instance, where a man is accused by his wife of committing an act of domestic violence. So I usually have to go to the criminal felony court to get that resolved. After I get that resolved, at times they're going through a divorce and I have to deal with that. And then there are sometimes immigration consequences as well, and I also have to deal with that. So I like that the three areas that I do interact with each other. A little about me. So I have two law degrees, one from the University of the West Indies in Jamaica and the Norma Mandela Law School. And then I have a Juris Doctor from the University of Florida. Go Gators! I also have two master's degrees, one from the University of Oxford, England. I have a master's there in criminology and criminal justice. And then I also have another master's degree from Florida International University in international crime and justice. And currently I'm pursuing a doctoral degree that I'm hoping I'll be finished in the next year or two. And one of my greatest accomplishments, I would say, is actually my diploma in Spanish. So with that, I wanted to introduce you to what I'm going to call Unscripted. It's just me talking to some of my clients about cases that we have to show you a real insight into what people go through in the criminal justice system or the family system or immigration. This week we're going to be focusing, since we just had Father's Day pass, on parental alienation. And I'm going to show you the stories of three men who have volunteered to come and share their stories with you of their fight to get their children in court and what it was like, how they have been able to overcome what they're currently going through. So I just wanted to share their stories with you to show you, to give hope to other men out there who may be going through this system as well, to give hope to other parents or just people in general, to show you that it's worth the fight. So today we have Aaron, and Aaron literally is in court fighting to see his two boys. He hasn't seen his sons in person for 2 years.
It's
And the last time
mhm.
he saw them over a year ago was on Zoom. He's missed
Yes,
a couple Father's Days, many birthdays,
yes.
many July 4ths. So Aaron is just here to share his story of how he's fighting to see his children and what it feels like to be alienated from your children. So, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good. It is a big. It's been the biggest challenge I've ever faced. Um, my boys. I have four boys total. My oldest son, I got full custody when he was 3 months old, and when his brothers were taken, it was devastating. It was, it was quick, it was swift, and no DCF or child net or anything involved, just motions and motions. We've had four judges.
Yeah.
How do you gain traction to get your children back when they just every time you gain traction,
The judge changes.
secret hearings, things, not serving me, things that have happened, that I hope that I can get a story out there that can help people to not have to go through this, even if it helps one person, Um,
So, tell us about the secret hearing. Like, was that the hearing that caused you to lose any type
yes,
of. All right, tell us
yes.
about
So,
that.
so going through the
And you don't have
whole,
to tell us the name of the judge. We
no,
just want
no,
to. Okay.
just going through the whole process with the court. Um, I had been never missed a hearing with my children. Going through everything with my son, getting custody, all of the different things. And when what they did was, not send me anything by email.
So, you were saying that there was a secret hearing. So, at this time,
Correct.
you were unrepresented.
Correct. So I was up unrepresented. I felt like I was completely, had all the facts and everything straight. I didn't, I was good to go. And, when you're not represented, they can, maneuver and do things and make them happen quick. And, they went in, they made accusations of like medical accusations, things that I had letters and proof and things that were just completely false, ready to go into this hearing. And next thing you know, the hearing happens. I don't get a notice, and I'm battling that for, a year until they say, oh, wait, it's been a year. You can't go back and change that. So next thing you know, I'm in front of another judge, um, you know, attempting to, get my children back. And, I wanted representation by an attorney, and they didn't let me. They didn't let me. And the two most important decisions, taking my children away, they didn't let me have representation there. So, and it's gone from anonymous calls made on me. People paid thousands and thousands of dollars to write a false report on me. If any advice I can give to men, if there's a chance to pay for a monitored visit, or that person on that side, or the an evaluation or psychological evaluation, to make sure you pay for that, because if not, you're risking having something written about you that's completely false, and it can destroy your life and have your children taken unless you're on point with everything. So my advice again for that is, again, to have representation, and make sure that if you're able to have a monitor or something, that you pay these people, because it is pay for play, 100%.
So, tell me one of. All right, you miss Father's Day, right? And all right, why are you still fighting for your children?
Um, I love my children so much. There's nothing more important to me than my children. And my children were taken out of the country to Colombia for a year. I battled. I got them back from Colombia. In Florida, the married father is the dad. I was on the birth certificate, and but my rights weren't established, so she was able to remove the children. So this has been going on for a number of years, and you know, and it just, my advice again is to get your rights established. Make sure that you have a way to stop something like that from happening, because it's been an absolute nightmare for me.
So one of the things I wanted to touch on, so you went to court by yourself. The judges are changing. All of this is happening. What do you think is the most important thing you can do in terms of presenting to the court to be able to show them that you deserve to be in your children's lives?
Just being completely steady, not reacting to anything, like you said, the July 4th. I've been asking for 3 years, to have my children on July 4th. And, you have to be prepared for them to let you down, and be prepared for everything. Because this July 4th, we asked, and we have a monitor in place. And the monitor was something I didn't even have to have. It was something I did for my protection, to add someone in to, and it still didn't matter. I won't see my children this July 4th, and they won't see their brother, they won't see their family, and the judge wouldn't. We've had her in contempt for since December. Here we are in July, and even asking for a time to see my children, with no DCF, no child net, no sanctions on me, except motions that are all tangled up within multiple judges that have my children removed. So, it's just you have to be steady, just keep going. And, when you have an opportunity to, not overreact, to make sure you don't show any type of, even though it's the hardest thing you'll ever go through, you just can't show any feelings in there, or they can use it against you.
Why, and I know this may be a harder question to answer. Why do you think your children are being withheld?
I think it's something with in the moms, where they feel like they have a control, or they don't want to let go of their babies. I just really, it's hard to say. It's just sometimes you have the other side that just doesn't want to cooperate, and doesn't want to share their life with you. They don't want you. And again, I think it comes down to, like, with her father, left her here in this country, and then went back to Colombia, and that's really part of the way I think that she doesn't feel like they need their father around, except for money, or for things like that. And that's exactly the way she treats me. you know um, But yeah,
Let's talk about the money. How has that affected you? What has happened with using money to keep you out of the children's lives?
well, I mean, I paid for their daycare. I worked. She didn't work. I did everything to pay for my children. Um, I think more like the attorneys. Like once you start battling, you're spending everything you have to, to keep going. And then they keep doing extensions, and it just, I've been through. No, you're the best attorney I've had. Just to be
Thank
honest with
you.
you, I've had a number of them, and it's just they extend it. It becomes almost impossible to defend. You know, and I've spent hundred, if not close to $1 million fighting this. I've spent everything, and it's worth it. It's worth
But in
every
terms of
second is worth
like,
it.
how do they use like the child support thing? Because that's a big thing that they catch you on the child support to use it to be like, oh, you're not complying with a court order, and they use that to keep you away from your kids
Yes, it's
essentially.
it's like
So tell us about
it
that.
is like a trafficking almost. Like they remove the children. They you know it's kidnapping almost in a sense because they take the children. There isn't really any, for me in my case, no DCF, no child net, no nothing except allegations, which I gave them everything that you could possibly imagine to overcome before this happened. And you end up with this major debt at the same time you're not able to see your children. So it's like, it's just collecting and compounding, and you're distraught. You're trying to, just, and everything you're spending towards your attorneys that could be going towards child support, but it's like you're stuck in this web. And again, it's really hard to unwind the things that they do with these motions.
And let me tell you, a lot of men don't understand this, Aaron. So they don't realize the court separates time sharing, where you get to see your kids, from child support. So they're like, oh, I'm not getting to see my kids, so why should I pay child support? But the court doesn't care. You haven't seen your kids in 2 years, but you're still expected to be paying child support. And
That's
you
correct.
know how the overnights work.
Yes.
Because the child support depends on the number of overnights. Now, if
Yes.
you have no overnights in 2 years, that adds and adds and adds. And now,
Yes.
one of the things is, when you didn't have an attorney, you didn't even know you had to do like a motion to abate the child support. Because
Yes.
at some point, you get frustrated, you lose your job, you can't
Hmm.
work, but the child support is still piling up.
Yes.
And you have seen firsthand how that affects your ability to fight your case because they use it as a weapon against
Yes.
you.
So you go in and basically they make, like, there's a separate court for child support. But what happens is that they try to take the time in your family court and try to use that to waste time. And literally we had to stop. Even the judge won't. They won't stop you. And we're like, we're gonna wait to talk to the child support judge for this. But they will take time and they'll waste time no matter whatever they can do to get another extension. And especially when you're up against, depending on who you're up against, their his specialty is motion is another extension, and doing, extending, and any type of delay you can expect to have that with him, whether it be a holiday, his I've heard it from the attorney's anniversary to his kids' birthdays, this and that, and they never ask you when you're available. They just book it around whatever the time it is. But yeah, it's been an extreme challenge in every single aspect of getting these kids back, and they're gonna look back when they're older, and hopefully I know they'll see that I didn't give up on them.
So I know you talked about they had one hearing that you didn't attend because you got no notice of it because again you weren't even represented. And in that one hearing, everything happened where there was an order and which
Yes.
you lost your kids. One
Yes.
hearing that you missed.
One hearing.
And
One.
now you're battling against a final order that's in place. And now you have to try to check. That's the
Correct.
hardest part.
A final order that's in place with no, like, they didn't come to my house with a child net. They didn't come to my house with a DCF. There was allegations, and before it was even time for me to pick up my children, I had completely annihilated those things and brought things to court. And that was it filed them and sent them by email everything I possibly could to the clerk of courts, and it didn't matter. And that's why they couldn't have me in there to defend that. If they did, they would have never got me, you know? So, you know,
How
I,
many years has it been total since you have been fighting for your
eight
children?
years, 8 years.
And they're what, about 10 and 11?
They're 10 and 11.
So you have literally lost 8 years for a
For
10-year-old and an 11 year
for the
old.
majority
So
of this
2 and 3, your kids have, from their 2 and 3, you have been fighting to be
fighting.
in their
Well, I
lives.
had, they went to Columbia. I got them back here, and after that, I was able to set up a schedule with them and start to get something going. And with as things continued on and got she met somebody else and things started changing where she wasn't wanting them with me as much. Different, just it just started to go downhill as far as our communication, and it ended up with her having her father start to pay for an attorney and make some allegations against me, and it's really what I've been up against. It's just
I'll say one thing.
motions and motions, and it's a tangled web. Um,
Allegations are easy to make because I'm the criminal as well, and anybody can be like, "Oh, he did this," and then and
in family court, you have to respond to that, and I get that. If someone makes something it's serious, to be able to, especially with children involved, that okay, if something's happened, then you're able to defend yourself and say, you know what, okay, I understand if that's an allegation, but I felt in going through from doctors to a psychiatrist to go a step and beyond, give medical records, everything that I possibly could that I didn't have to give. I didn't have to give a medical record or things like that because of allegations, but I did. And it didn't matter. Even with the facts or nothing, they made sure that they got my kids taken away with that hearing. And I've been defending ever since.
so I'm hoping that 8 years is a long time, and one of the reasons I wanted to do this now, we just had Father's Day, and a lot of times you hear, oh, men not involved or you don't want to take part. But I've met so many men doing what I do, fighting every single day to be in their children's
Mm-hmm.
lives. And I don't think we see enough of that, right? 'Cause we just bash the men a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times, oh, the deadbeat does. But
Mm-hmm.
I wanted people to see the men every day who are fighting to be in their children's lives, going to court, battling it on their own, spending their last dollar on an attorney. And I just want to thank you for being here. And I know you're going through it. We are going through it.
Thank you. Yes,
We had
yes,
court Monday, right?
yes,
And it got emotional at one
yes.
point. She was crying, and I'm like, "Why are you crying? He's the one that hasn't seen his kids in 2 years."
Yeah.
And all it was me just asking some very basic questions which they refused to answer, and I just was emphasizing like blah blah blah, But I mean,
I get emotional. It's just, like when they were in Colombia and I was, my oldest son was still with me, you know, um, it was so hard to, I had to just keep going. I couldn't be in a pity pod or anything if
because
to
you
get
had
them
another
back. And I
child to
also
take
had,
care of.
exactly. So, and he's doing excellent. Just to, they're missing seeing their brother. I'm so proud of him. And you see, he's showing up to court for me,
I know, I see.
so I'm very proud of that. And, but that, I do get emotional, but it's like when certain songs come on or like certain things, like I lose it, like
And
I
all the pictures
but
that you send me every day, you send me pictures. But listen, I mean, I try to tell you all the time, don't get frustrated because that's what they want.
yes.
Because when you get frustrated, you give up.
Hmm.
I tell you all the time, don't let the fight be between me and you.
Yes. So
If I'm like, sometimes I'll be asking you for documents and you're not giving them, and you're telling me that I've given them before, and I'm like, okay, but I just want us to stay focused
yes,
and let's try our best to get your kids back because, you know, children have a right to be with their parents, especially
absolutely,
good parents that are fighting for them.
absolutely.
And it's sad to say that not everybody has the emotional maturity to realize that, even if the parents break up, the children still needs to be with the other parent, whether it's the mom or the dad. And I don't see a reason. You keep hearing, oh, they don't want to come, they don't want to come, but that's a part of parental alienation. One parent saying the kids don't want to come, but oftentimes you literally can tell that's not even the case. It's just one parent controlling the children because they know that's the thing that can hurt the other parent the most, using the children as a weapon.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really important, I think, for the children to be around their father. It's a, again, with my oldest son being, has, been successful, and again, like I'm so proud of him.
He's
And
what, 17,
he's
and you had him
17
since you was three
since
months
he was three
old
months old.
in university doing
Yes.
well.
Yes, he's doing excellent.
I
He's plays the trumpet. He's
traveling.
traveling, doing. It's just I'm so proud of him, and I really can't wait to and I couldn't give up for him either. For his brothers. Like what kind of man would I be? I feel like if I gave up. And what kind of father would I be? So I feel like when they get older, they'll look back and they'll thank me for sticking in there.
Boy, they have spent a lot of their lives fighting,
Yes.
and so yeah, let's keep up the good work. But I do thank you, Aaron.
Thank you. I'm not going to give up, and I do thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of the support, and you've done an excellent job. I've gained so much more traction just in this little bit of time than the years prior. So I'm excited, and thank you.
Well, let's go get them.
Yes.
All right, no problem.
What are some of the things that your attorney has done for you that another has not?
I'm just spicy. That's I.
She's done a lot. She's done a lot. I mean, I can say just the detail, just paying attention, going back through the other hearings, just, a lot of the transcripts and things that, people, other attorneys really didn't go back. They just kind of winged it seemed like. You know, keeps me on point,
I keep him on point.
keeps him on point, that's for sure.
I try
Definitely.
to redirect you.
Because I'm very, I get,
Frustrated, emotional, wanting to cry. I get it, and I hear him, and sometimes he will literally say, "Hey, should I send you this picture?" And I'm like, "You've sent it 5 times. Let's keep the focus
yeah.
here." And because a lot of times the tactic is to derail the client, like, "Oh, let's focus on the child support." No, we're not. We're talking about time sharing in this court, and so I just try to work with him because it's emotional, and he's been struggling for a long time. And he knows every time I go to court, I say to the judge, there's still a court order for him to see his children. Nobody's complying with that court order. He hears me saying it every single time
Yeah, there's a court order in place right now
for him to
that
see his
she's
kids.
not
And
following.
I've said it January,
So,
February, March, April, May, June. Here we are in July, but it's hard. It is hard. We don't control the timetable. We'll get a 2 hours here or a 3 hour there. I've asked for a whole day, so we're still just chipping away. But
you can't give up. They're gonna be. They purposely do stretch out and make even things like 4th of July and things where they could have made an order for me to see my children. They won't do that just to see how you'll react, and then reset it for July 8th right after. So it's like, to anyone, advice I can give is just stick it out, don't give up,
It's
never give
hard.
up.
It
The
is
kids will
hard.
thank you later. And some days are worse than others. You think about them and you just try to do the best you can. So